right, hey everyone, welcome to Excel Maven Expert Series. This is session number 6, Calculated Pivot Fields. I'm going to be walking through a basic example using some fundraising data. As you can see here, we've got 9 individuals split up into 3 different teams, A, B, and C. The data we have includes the number of hours each individual worked, total funds raised, and then a calculated field for basically funds raised per hour, which is just column D divided by C. So let's say we want to award the team that raised funds at the greatest rate. So the team with the highest rate of dollars per hour. There's a wrong way to do this, and there are a few correct ways to do this. First, I'm going to show you the wrong way, which would be to just select the data from each team, take a look at the average, say, okay, Team A raised $14.81 per hour. Team B raised $14.96. Team C raised $15.79. Therefore, Team C is the highest earning team, and they should be awarded the prize. Now, the reason this is incorrect is that by doing it this way, we're taking a straight average, which assigns equal weight to each team member's earning rate. Which would make sense if everyone worked the same number of hours, but as you can see, each individual worked a very different number of hours. So an alternative route, the correct route, or I should say one of the correct routes, is to use a pivot table. So I'm going to select the data, insert a pivot table on a new tab. I'm going to pull in the team as my row labels. Oops. And then for values, I'm going to do the sum of hours worked and the sum of funds raised. Now the question is how to deal with this dollar per hour field that I had already calculated in my raw data. If I drag it in here, it will default to the sum of dollars per hour, which doesn't make any sense at all. If I look at value field settings, the closest I can really get is an average, which gives me the exact answer that I got last time, which shows that Team C seemingly earned the most money per hour at $15.79. Now what I need to do here to get the correct weighted average is to go into Pivot Table Tools, Fields, Items, and Sets, Calculated Field. This is where you can create any new fields or metrics that you want based on existing fields in your data. So I'm going to call this Calculated Dollar per Hour, and I'm going to define that as funds raised divided by hours worked. Boom. And now when I format this as currency, you can see that this tells a very different story, which is that Team C actually earned only $13.75 an hour, which is significantly lower than Teams A or B. So they're not the winners at all. In fact, they earned funds at the lowest rate out of anyone. Why did this happen? Looking back at the raw data, you can see that Karen earned funds at $18.33 an hour, which is the best out of the group, and she's basically contributing a third of the credit to her team's straight average of $15.79, whereas Timmy's a really hard worker. He worked 65 hours, but he did so at a rate of only $11.54, which is by far the worst. When you assign weights properly and give Timmy's rate much more higher rate because he worked way more hours than anyone else on the team, then you see this weighted number of $13.75, which is correct. So the benefit of doing this is that now anytime I cut my data in different ways, if I do it by name, by team, or as a grand total, this number, this calculated field, is always going to be correct, whereas my straight average will always be incorrect. And this is important, again, for any rate metrics that you have in your raw data. Make sure that if you're cutting and slicing and dicing your data and analyzing through pivot tables, that you're using calculated fields to calculate these rates and averages properly. Thank you for tuning in. Check out session 7, which is advanced text formulas, and head on over to excelmaven.com to learn more about hands-on personalized training programs. Thanks. Talk to you guys soon.